Hello there, people of YouTube land. Once again, it is I, the Zombie Messiah, and we have another War of the Loot Boxes video going on for you today. At this time, we're going to be looking at an example of how loot boxes have been done in a good way, especially, which is something that we kind of need to hear, especially since we've had all of the extra stuff surrounding the controversy about the microtransactions and loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Ooh. And this little bit of good news comes from an article on gamesindustry.biz where they interviewed Meredith Braun, who is the vice president of publishing at Digital Extremes, who are the developers behind the game Warframe. Now, just want to get this out of the way. I have been playing Warframe a hell of a lot, and it definitely has one of the best, if not the best, free-to-play system in a full console game I have ever seen. Everything you can buy, everything you can buy with the microtransactions, you can easily get just by doing it on your own. There are things that microtransactions won't get you. There are things that microtransactions will get you, and also, it is actually possible to trade the premium currency with other players. I know, right? It's fucking crazy. Anyway, so the article ends with a mention of all of the controversy around microtransactions nowadays, thanks to EA. And however, it does also make mention that microtransactions in of themselves aren't inherently a bad idea. It's just the implementation that can make them terrible. And this is actually something that we've been seeing a lot, especially in regards to major AAA publishers and loot boxes. One of the examples that they give on how microtransactions have actually been handled well is with Warframe, which at the time of this article has amassed over 30 million registered users since the game came out all the way back in 2013, and it hit an all-time peak of 121,377 concurrent players on Steam alone following the launch of the Plains of Eidolon update, which is absolutely phenomenal. Like, seriously, so many people nowadays are playing Warframe, and at the moment, because of that update, it is the second highest free-to-play game on Steam. It doesn't say what the first one is, but anyway, there's a quote in this article which Meredith gave in response to being asked about the whole controversy with EA and Star Wars Battlefront 2. And basically, here's the quote that she says: "Giving players a choice and a voice really matters. It's made a huge difference for us at Digital Extremes." Well, she's talking about Digital Extremes here. "And it's a lesson the industry needs to get better at. Whether it's a free game or a $60 game, with microtransactions, monetization has to be built into the DNA of the game design itself to succeed. We've spent the past 5 years working tirelessly to present a fair business model to our players through thoughtful yet complex systems that keep them at the forefront of our decision-making process. We've also spent that same 5 years trying to turn perceptions around on the poor reputation free-to-play and microtransactions have received over the past decade in the gaming community. Demand for high-quality, entertaining gaming experiences will never go away, so there's a reason that kind of AAA experience can't come in the form of a free-to-play or games-as-a-service title." And that is actually very, very strong words from Meredith. In fact, it's actually kind of the thing that we've been trying to say to publishers such as Activision and EA for all this time. We don't want systems to just give you guys extra money. If we want to give you extra money, we will find ways to give you extra money, whether it's through paid DLC, or even if we just buy another copy of a game for a friend who wants to play it, but doesn't want to fork out the money themselves. Or hell, we'll even refer it to people if you really want us to. Microtransactions in of themselves, and this is actually something that EA has actually proven time and time again, thanks to their efforts to fix, well, to air quotes, fix Star Wars Battlefront 2. First, when they removed the microtransactions and actually revealed to some of their stockholders that the removal of the microtransactions will not affect their bottom line in any negative way. So that actually disproved the whole point of, oh, we need microtransactions in order to cover the cost of development, which now anytime any publisher makes that argument, I'm just going to go, yeah, bollocks to you. And also, another point that they recently disproved, with the fact that they are now increasing the amount of credits that you get as a reward for completing matches in Star Wars Battlefront 2, is that microtransactions are a choice, and you can easily just get everything else in the game without having to spend extra money. Yeah, if that was the case, then you wouldn't have needed to increase the amount of credits people earn for completing matches. Basically, the reason why they did that is because the way that AAA publishers see microtransactions is, we want to make these as ideal as possible for people to buy. So what we'll do is we'll make it harder for people who are playing the game without paying into the microtransactions have to go through even more of a grind in order to get it. This is something that we've seen in the likes of Halo 5, Overwatch, and even Call of Duty World War 2. And heck, even Battlefront 2 before this change came about. Now, with Warframe, I just want to talk about how Warframe works as a free-to-play system. As I said beforehand, everything you can get in the game, you can either get with microtransactions or through sheer work. You can trade the premium currency with other players. There are things that the microtransactions can't get you. There are things that only the microtransactions can get you, etc., etc. Basically, how Warframe's free-to-play system works is you have your weapons and your Warframes. Your Warframes are essentially different characters that you can play as. Each of them have different strengths and weaknesses, different abilities, different all sorts. Now, how you get Warframes in the game is by collecting blueprints. How do you get these blueprints, you might be wondering? You get these blueprints by completing assassination missions and beating bosses. Some of these bosses can also drop up weapon blueprints, but a lot of them drop Warframe blueprints. And there are some that are okay. Some of them are really good challenge, such as Jackal, even though Jackal can be a little cheap at times. And then there are some grinds that are, well, just such as Excalibur. But even then, the Excalibur grind can be avoided if at the beginning of the game you chose your starter Warframe to be Excalibur. Or, and this is where the microtransactions comes in. If you want to, you can choose to get the game's premium currency, which is called Platinum, either by paying real money or by getting it in a trade. Yes, you can trade. Yes, again, you can trade the premium currency with other players, and this is actually a nice touch. So basically, you get your Platinum, and then you can buy a Warframe, or a weapon, or cosmetic items. These cosmetic items are the only extra things, well, are the only things that are microtransaction exclusive. And even then, they are solely cosmetic, no extra stats to them, even though they're just pieces of armor. Well, basically your cosmetics come in the form of extra colors you can use, extra armor, extra cosmetic armor pieces that you can throw onto your warframe, extra sidanas, which are like little capes or scarves, and extra glyphs, which you can have glowing off of your shoulder. Now, and as I said, there are also things that the microtransactions can't get you, such as mods. Basically, what mods are what you throw onto your weapons, warframes, companions, whatever, to essentially change how they work. You can make them better, or you can make them worse if you're sadistic enough to try and do the level to try and do the end game locations with a soma that focuses on specific damage types. Yeah, I kind of did that myself. It wasn't too fun, but then I learned. Anyway, so and there is very little RNG in this. Everything the microtransactions get you, you see what it gets you. The only thing in the game that is RNG is, well, there are two things in the game that are RNG: relics and bounties. Bounties were a new addition thanks to the Plains of Eidolon on expansion, where you could do these extra little quests, and you could get stuff such as components, blueprints, etc. However, they're the only way you can currently gain the blueprint for the new warframe Gara. And relics are essentially like a fairer version of loot boxes, except it's optional. It's entirely optional whether you buy them from microtransactions, and even then, you're easily more likely to find them out in the field than you are finding a specific one you want by getting a relic pack. And even then, there are multiple ways of getting relic packs, either through the market with platinum, which again you can trade with other players, or by getting a relic pack from a syndicate. I won't get into syndicates at the moment. In fact, I'm going to be doing more content based on Warframe, so look out for a video on syndicates. But yeah, basically, the free-to-play system on Warframe can definitely be considered to be one of the best free-to-play systems in any game. And here's the thing, because of the way the free-to-play system works, it is entirely possible to play the entirety of the game without having to spend any money, because the game itself is also free. Digital Extremes have actually done a lot to build up a good reputation with its players, and it's definitely not hard to see why the most hardcore Warframe players would easily want to recommend Warframe for anyone who hasn't tried it yet. Seriously, if you haven't tried it, go pick it up. It's free on Steam, PS4, and Xbox One. But anyway, if you guys liked what you saw, then please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to, you can support me on my Patreon. And this has been the Zombie Messiah returning to the crypt, and I will see you guys in the next